What is going on, CFCH? It is Coach Casey here with your Mobility Minute. Now, I'm sure you're asking yourself, what the hell is Mobility Minute? So glad you asked. We had such a good turnout with the Mobility Clinic, but the number one feedback I got was time. A lot of you couldn't make the specific class times, which is totally understandable. We've all got schedules to adhere to. So I decided to bring mobility to you. So each week, I'm gonna try to put together a 10 to 15 minute follow along mobility video centered around rehab, prehab, and mobility work specific for that week's programming. So this is gonna be completely tailored to what's going on in the gym on that specific week. It's gonna include some work on the mobility demands of the movements that you're gonna see that week, as well as focusing on recovery between the workouts, and maybe a little bit of specific joint training to help you guys with some of those nagging injuries that you may be dealing with. So today, we're looking forward into what is today? The week of the 18th, yes. Last week we had a lot of running. This coming week, we're gonna see cleans, we're gonna see snatches, we're gonna see shoulder to overhead. We're deep in our Olympic weightlifting cycle. So we're gonna focus on calves today, ankle mobility. We'll touch a little bit on the knees, hips, and lower back as well. So all you're gonna need today is a foam roller and a little bit of wall space. So if you're ready, let's get into it. All right, let's do it. We're gonna start nice and easy. I'm gonna go ahead and kick my shoes off. You know I don't like shoes. We're gonna start nice and easy. We're gonna start by foam rolling our calves. I'm gonna pick one leg to start with. And we're gonna start with some long strokes. So going up and down the full length of the calf. And what I'm searching for is some tender spots. We're gonna spend about 30 to 60 seconds here. Just searching for those tender spots. Now when you find one, you're gonna wanna sit on it, take your other leg, and tack it down. So you're adding more pressure. And then we're gonna take our ankle through range of motion. Right, so this is what we know as a soft tissue mobilization. It's very good for decreasing tension, changing fluid dynamics, which is really good for recovery, getting nutrients to the cells, helping that tissue get some fresh blood, some fresh oxygen, just help it recover. So get a few ankle rolls. Then we can go back to rolling, search for another tender spot. Feel free to pause the video at any point if you want to spend more time on something. You can always pause and get a little more foam rolling, or if we do a stretch, you can get a longer stretch. It's really what you need. Make it what you need. When you're ready, we're going to move down to the Achilles. So we're going to go just above the heel, and then we're going to scrub. So I'm going to go side to side with my leg. We call this scrubbing. You can move the foam roller up a little bit, do it again. Think about pressing down into the foam roller as you do this. This is similar to friction therapy, like in a massage. And they kind of take it and they go real fast, real hard. And this is good for blood flow. We use this a lot to decrease tension, but really get some blood flow in there. And your Achilles tendon, although it's very strong, it doesn't have very good vascularization, which is why it takes so long for it to heal if you get some kind of Achilles tendinopathy. Good. And we're gonna switch. So now other leg, same thing. Let's get some full rolls in there. Search for those tender spots. For me, it's always like the lateral side of my calf, closer to those peroneal muscles. Same thing, put the other leg on top. When you find that tender spot, really tack it down and get some rolls. Ankle rolls, as much range of motion as you can. Really mobilize that tissue. Go back to your long rolls, find another tender spot, and do the same thing. Another one over there. We had a lot of running last week, so I'm sure people's calves are going to be a little sore. Additionally, we've got cleans and snatches coming up in the week. You can expect some deep squatting, and we need some good ankle mobility for that. We'll go back to our scrubbing, so down towards the Achilles, a little bit closer to the heel. Press down into that foam roller, go side to side. Try to go quickly. Move it up a little bit. It's usually a little bit uncomfortable to scrub, but it is really effective. It's one of my more favorite things to do. A few more long rolls. We're going to set that foam roller aside. And we're just going to start with an ankle stretch. We do this one in class a lot. We're going to kneel down on one leg. I'm going to pull my heel up under my butt as close as I can get it. And then I'm going to take my chest, put it on my knee, and push that knee forward over the toe. You should feel this on the back side of the ankle. Just a great stretch for the Achilles. We do start with a passive stretch because the ankle is really the lower limb. The connective tissue is really quite stout. It's quite tough. And it's very hard to change. If you've ever tried to gain more ankle mobility, it feels like it takes forever. And that is because that connective tissue is just so resilient and so strong. But I will tell you, it is possible. You just got to keep working at it and keep being consistent. We may need to hold the stretch longer. So if you are a person with stiff ankles, I would recommend 2 minutes at least of a passive ankle stretch to really gain flexibility. If you have a more mobile ankle, and the easy way to gauge that is how far your knee goes over your toes. If you get a few inches of your knee coming over your toe, your ankle mobility is probably pretty good. A minute is good to maintain flexibility. We're going to layer in a little bit of PNF work with this ankle stretch. All we're going to do is we're going to press down into the floor for about 10 seconds, and then we're actually going to lift our foot for about 10 seconds. And what we're doing is we're engaging the musculature on the backside, trying to get a contraction in that lengthened position. And then we're also going to work the front side by lifting the foot, and that's going to strengthen the muscles that are going to help us get more ankle range of motion, get deeper into that ankle flexion. So let's start. All I want you to do is just press. Keep your body weight over your foot, and you're going to press your toes down into the floor. Go about 10 seconds. And then when we lift, we're going to lean back a little bit, and we're going to pull our forefoot up or our toes up. So I'm lifting as hard as I can. Again, about 10 seconds. You should feel your shin muscle really contracting. You may start to burn. Good. We'll go back into the lean. Now I'm pushing down again. Pushing down into the floor, almost like I'm going to do a single leg calf raise. Like I'm going to lift myself up, but I'm keeping my weight down, staying in that plantar flex position. Good. We're going to back out again. Lift. Lift, lift, lift. I always like incorporating some active contraction after a passive stretch just to really own that range of motion. One more time, we'll press down. It's one thing to be flexible, it's a different thing to be mobile, right? Mobile is really owning that range of motion, being able to use it. And then last time, lift. Lift is the hardest part. Good, we'll go ahead, switch. Same thing on this side. Pull that foot as close as you can up under your butt. I'm gonna put my chest on my knee and just use my body weight to drive my knee over the toe. We'll just hold for about a minute or so. Again, pause the video if you need to hold longer. I have ankles that are very different. My right ankle is a little bit stiffer, so I have to spend a little more time on my right ankle, whereas my left ankle is pretty flexible. Hold about a minute. You really do want to try to relax when you're doing a passive hold. Just breathe. Try not to think about what you're doing. Just calm your mind. Just trying to reduce some tension here. A little bit longer, and then we'll go into our PNF. All right, so same thing on this side. I'm gonna press down into the floor as if I'm gonna do a calf raise. It's okay if your heel lifts a little bit. It means you're getting a good strong contraction. Back out, lift the toes, about 10 seconds. Get that shin muscle to contract. That anterior tibialis. 3, 2, 1, good. We're going back to pressing down into the floor. Notice I shift my weight over. I want to load that ankle. Keep pressing, keep pressing. Good, lean back, we'll pull the toes up, pull them up hard. Ugh. This is the hardest part of the whole thing. I'm starting to sweat. Good, back down. Get one more round. Usually you can do 3 to 5 rounds of this. It's pretty good. If you're a little more stiff, go to 5. If you're pretty flexible, or maybe you're using this as a warm-up or a prehab, 3 rounds. Back out, here we go. Lift, lift, lift. Really want to work for it. Really try to get into the end range. Lift the toe as high as you can, the forefoot as high as you can. Good. Shake it out. We're going to move to the wall for this next part. We're going to get some negatives. All right, to finish off the ankles, we're going to work on some negatives. We've done this in class a few times. We're going to do a little bit different iteration of it. Negatives, aka the eccentric or the lowering portion of a movement, is very good for tendinopathies. So if you have shin splints, Achilles tendonitis, or something like it, maybe even plantar fasciitis, this is something that can help with that, as long as dosage is appropriate. So don't bite off more than you can chew. We're going to use the wall to lean against. I'm going to walk my feet back. So I'm at a little bit of an incline. It's just going to put a little bit more stretch on my ankles. I'm going to go up with both, take a leg away, and then go down super slow with one. And I'm going all the way down to that heel touches the floor. You can also do this like standing on a weight plate. If you're working to a deficit, same thing. We're just doing this on an incline. Reduce equipment needs. We'll get a few pushing through the whole forefoot. So I'm pushing through my big toe and my pinky toe pretty evenly. We're going to change it up here in a second to try to incorporate some different muscles. Get some different tendons involved. So now we're going to go up, and what I want you to do is roll out to your pinky toe. Put all of your weight in that pinky toe, and then try to lower, maintaining that weight in that pinky toe nice and slow. So again, up, out to the pinky toe. Don't roll your ankle, of course. And then lower down. Up, out to the pinky toe, lower super slow. This is also a good thing to do to kind of prevent ankle injuries, because this is working on ankle stability in different positions, pushing through different parts of your foot. Now we're going to do the same thing, but this time we're going to roll in, put all of our weight into the base of the big toe. So up, roll that foot in, take the other leg away, lower down slowly. Pay attention to what you struggle with. If you're not good at one of these, or it's hard, it's probably something you're going to want to work on. Right? That could be some weakness or instability at the ankle that needs to be addressed. So again, up with both. Put all of my weight to the base of my big toe. Slowly lower down. Now we're getting a lot of reps. Usually I recommend only like 5 to 8 reps of each. Negatives can be pretty potent. As you get used to it though, you can always do a little bit more. Good. We'll roll those ankles out. Get a few air squats, see how those ankles feel. Yeah. And that's good for ankles. We'll move on. All right, we're done with the ankles. So we're going to touch on the knees a little bit, and then we'll move into the hip and the lower back. This is going to be a little more restorative, not going to be as aggressive as the focus on the ankles. So you're going to probably want a mat because you're going to be kneeling. Now, if you can kneel and sit on your ankles, great. If this is a little bit painful for the ankles, then you can roll a towel or another mat and place it underneath the tops of your ankles to kind of reduce the pressure of that ankle being flat on the floor. Additionally, if you cannot sit in deep knee flexion, if it's your knees that bother you, then you can always come up and you can put your hands on something behind you like a box or a couch or whatever is a little bit elevated. What we're going to do is we're going to sit in a full kneel, and we're going to walk our hands behind us. Let's go forward a little bit. Just like so. Now we're going to do a little bit of a PNF, sometimes called Pale's Rails. It's all the same thing. I'm going to press the tops of my feet down into the floor, which is going to contract my quad, and it's going to open the knee a little bit, lifting my hips. So it's going to look like this. Additionally, I'm going to squeeze my butt to keep my hips open. So I'm pressing my feet into the floor, squeezing my butt. I'm going to feel a stretch and maybe even a little bit of like a burning in the quads. That's a good thing. It's just from the quads working. We're going to hold for about 10, 15 seconds. And then we're going to come back down slowly. It should be a little bit easier. You can walk your hands back. This is really working the knee, but also really opening up the hip. It's really a good 1-2 punch. We're just relaxing right now, feeling the stretch in the quads. We're about to do it again. So same thing, I'm going to press my feet down, squeezing my butt so my hips lift. We're going to hold. This is not the most comfortable position, but if we can get comfortable in this deep knee flexion, squatting will be no problem. Additionally, I am getting a little bit of a shoulder stretch. We can relax, especially if I can really get my shoulder, my hands back behind me. You want to keep those elbows straight and your fingertips pointed behind you. When I lift, I'm going deeper into that shoulder extension. Just going to give me a good stretch through the bicep and the deltoid, the front deltoid. Let's get one more. We're going to drive the tops of the feet into the floor, squeeze the butt, lift the hips. Think about a string pulling your belly button up to the ceiling. Also getting a really nice stretch in the front of my shoulder, my biceps. And those pull-ups last week. Good, relax. Just hold here. Some other modifications you can make. You can get a bolster, a pillow, roll a towel and place it under your butt so it's between your butt and your heels, especially if that deep knee flexion is bothersome. So lots of modifications we can make here, but ideally we'd be able to sit in this deep knee flexion. You can kind of rock side to side, roll the hips a little bit. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to get into hips and lower back. So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to flip over, and we're just going to do a nice SI joint rock. This is really just to kind of feel good. You're going to lay back. We'll keep the feet flat. We're going to take one leg and we're going to cross it over the other, making a nice little figure 4. I'm going to take my arms out to the side like a T, relax my head, and then I'm just going to rock side to side. So I'm going to bring this foot to the floor, both legs moving together, and then I'm going to switch the other way and take the knee to the floor. And what I want to maintain is this figure 4 position, and I want to keep my shoulders on the floor. So when I go this way, I'm feeling a pretty nice stretch in this hip. And then I'm going to take the knee to the floor on the other side. And when I go this way, I'm feeling a nice little rock in the lower back. This is just a gentle SI joint mobilization. It's very gentle, very gentle. This is something you can do after deadlifts or after a bunch of cleans, just to relieve some tension in the lower back. You get about 8 to 10 rocks each direction. Or you can just go for about 30 seconds each side. Then we'll go ahead and switch. Same thing on this side. Foot to the floor. Oh, that's nice. And back the other way. I'm going to try to maintain the position of the leg. Don't let that figure 4 fall out. You may notice differences between the two sides. I always take note of that. This hip for me feels a little bit stiffer, whereas this lower back on this side does not. Just a nice little SI rock. We can uncross. Last thing we're going to do is a little bit of a nerve floss. So this is a sciatic nerve floss. Your sciatic nerve runs out the sacrum and then backside of the leg. And it's a really thick nerve, but it can sometimes get compressed and it feels very tension. Some people will think they have tension in their hamstrings. Really, it's tensioning of the sciatic nerve. So we're going to do a little bit of a nerve floss. I'm going to interlock my fingers, keep my knee flexed to start. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to drop my head and lift my foot by straightening my knee, and then pull my toes towards my face. And then I'm going to let that go, and I'm going to bring my head back up and pulling my chest towards my knee. So what I'm doing is I'm mobilizing the nerve and asking it to move and slide and glide a little bit better through all of that connective tissue that it has to run through to get all the way down to my foot. So when that knee flexes, that's when my chest and my head come up. And when that knee straightens and that foot flexes up towards my face, that's when I drop my head. Just flossing, quite literally flossing that nerve through its sheath. And then we'll go ahead and switch. I want to do this nice and slow. Get about 3-5 reps, depending on how slow you're moving. Again, the goal is to just mobilize that nerve. This also may be a nice stretch for the hamstrings. Definitely not saying that you're not stretching the hamstrings. Definitely may feel this in the hamstrings. Always a good, never a bad thing. When you go to straighten that leg, really try to extend the knee all the way. Pull that foot towards your face. Feel that deep stretch. Oh, that's nice. Sometimes you may even feel that nerve kind of roll over. I know I feel that a few times. So, that is your mobility minute for this week. I would try that once or twice throughout the week. You can use it as a restorative session, help you recover between workouts. You can do it before the workout. You can do it after the workout, just to help you guys, get mobile. So, see you next week.